to the Southeastern North Carolina Radio Reading Service, a United Way partner agency. We're located on the campus of Fayetteville State University, and our signal is carried by WUNC in Chapel Hill. Today is Tuesday, November the 7th. And your radio hosts today are
Jessica Bullock
and Tina Beatty. And we will be reading the news for today's edition of the Fayetteville Observer. And Jessica is our weather girl this morning.
Okay, today we have a high of 73 degrees, a low of 48 degrees, cloudy, a little rain, not as warm. Tomorrow, Wednesday, a high of 56 degrees.
Oh!
Yes, going to be a little cool tomorrow. A low of 46 degrees, mostly cloudy, showers, and cooler. On Thursday, it'll be a high of 61 degrees, a low of 43, clouds breaking for some sun. And on Friday, we have a high of 59 degrees, a low around 32 degrees. Plenty of sunshine, but cool. And on Saturday, we have a high of 55 degrees, a low of 39 degrees, cool with sunshine and some clouds.
Well, maybe it got here at last, huh? The cool weather. Today in history. Today is Tuesday, November the 7th. It's the 311th day of 2017, and there are 54 days left in the year, which is a shocker. Excuse me. This is Election Day. Today's highlight on November 7th, 1917, Russia's Bolshevik Revolution took place as forces led by Vladimir Ilyich Lenin overthrew the provisional government of Alexander Kerensky. In 1861, former U.S. President John Tyler was elected to the Confederate House of Representatives. However, Tyler died before he could take his seat. In 1867, Nobel Prize-winning scientist Marie Curie was born in Warsaw. In 1916, Republican Jeannette Rankin of Montana became the first woman elected to Congress, winning a seat in the U.S. House of Representatives. In 1940, Washington State's original Tacoma Narrows Bridge, nicknamed Galloping Gertie, collapsed into Puget Sound during a windstorm just 4 months after opening to traffic. Whoa. In 1944, President Franklin D. Roosevelt won an unprecedented fourth term in office, defeating Republican Thomas E. Dewey. In 1962, Republican Richard Nixon, having lost California's gubernatorial race, held what he called his last press conference, telling reporters, "You won't have Nixon to kick around anymore." Former First Lady Eleanor Roosevelt, 78, died in New York City. In 1972, President Richard Nixon was re-elected in a landslide over Democrat George McGovern. And in 1973, Congress overrode President Richard Nixon's veto of the War Powers Act, which limits a chief executive's power to wage war without congressional approval. And birthdays today, and we don't have any birthdays again. It's Tuesday, and there's something about Tuesdays, I don't know. No birthdays with our listeners. We hope we haven't missed you. And here are the birthdays in the paper. Evangelist Billy Graham is 99.
Wow.
Imagine that. Actor Barry Newman is 79. Singer Johnny Rivers is 75. Former supermodel Jean Shrimpton is 75. Singer-songwriter Joni Mitchell is 74. Former CIA Director David Petraeus is 65. Jazz singer Renee Marie is 62. Actor Christopher Knight from TV's The Brady Bunch is 60. Rock musician Tommy Thayer from Kiss is 57. Actress Julie Pinson is 50. Actress Michelle Clooney is 48. Actor Christopher Daniel Barnes is 45. Actors Jeremy and Jason London are 45. And actress Yoonjin Kim is 44.
Right, you need to know. Gingerbread community. The Fayetteville Area Habitat for Humanity is accepting applications for the H&H owned Gingerbread Community of Hope, which will be on display November 24th at Skyview on Hay, 121 Hay Street during A. Dickens holiday. A workshop is scheduled for 4 p.m. Thursday at the Hope Mills Public Library, 3411 Golfview Road. Attendees will learn basic construction and decoration techniques. There is no cost to entry. Forms are available at the Habitat Restore, 3833 Bragg Boulevard. Book signing. The Airborne and Special Operations Museum will host a book signing with author Mark Valden on Sunday from 1 to 3 p.m. Beginning at 1 p.m., Bowden will hold a question and answer session in the museum's theater, and immediately following will sign his latest book, Hugh, 1968, A Turning Point of the American War in Vietnam. The book is the first battle book from Bowden since Black Hawk Down. Hugh, 1968, is the story of the centerpiece of the Tet Offensive and a turning point in the American War in Vietnam. Books are available in the museum's gift shop. For more information, call 643-2774 or go to asomf.org. The museum is at 100 Bragg Boulevard. Gold Star Family Ceremony. Rolling Thunder NC1, in conjunction with the Airborne and Special Operations Museum Foundation and the Dogwood chapter of the Gold Star Mothers, will host a Gold Star Family Ceremony on Thursday at 6 p.m. at the Vietnam Moving Wall on the museum's parade field. The ceremony is open to the public. For more information, call 643-2773.
Okay. This is LiveWire, and here is the question. There's just one question today. In reading the several articles in the newspaper regarding the Haymont study, I would like to know who is paying for this study and who would maintain the proposed recommendation to add more trees if the project is implemented. If you walk on Morganton Road or Fort Bragg Road or on any side street in this area, tree branches extend across the streets, which can be dangerous for pedestrians and motorists. The tree in front of the fire station on Morganton Road and Olive Street is a perfect example of no maintenance. This tree's branches are in the power lines and extend across Morganton Road, which can be very hazardous to drivers and walkers. The tree in front of St. James Lutheran Church is dying. There are numerous trees in this area that have dead branches and are not being maintained. Who is responsible? The city? The property owner? The Haymont study recommendations sound great, but who will pay for maintenance? And that was from ES in Fayetteville. And here is the answer. Fayetteville City spokesman Nathan Walls said Morganton Road is a North Carolina Department of Transportation roadway, so it is that department's responsibility to manage the trees in the right-of-way along that area. Walsh said Fort Bragg Road is a city street. Issues with those trees that are within power lines should be directed to the Public Works Commission. However, the direction of where the branches extend can change that. Walsh said if the tree branches are within the right-of-way, or the branches extend out into the right-of-way, it would be the government agency's responsibility to maintain. If the trees are completely within private property, it would be the property owner's responsibility. The Haymont study was completed in two parts. The first part was completed by the Urban Land Institute, which completed a portion of the study free of charge. The second part was completed by city planner Eloise Sahlstrom, who is paid via the city budget. Many meetings were held during the creation of the study, but Walls said it has yet to move forward to City Council for final review and approval. Walls said the city staff hopes to get the study finalized by January, and that article was by Monica Vendiccioli.
Okay, I have the Billy Graham section. We must strive to not serve as vessels for Satan's evil. Question: does Satan cause all the problems the world seems to be having right now? And if he does this mean we can't really do very much about them? Mrs. M.M. Answer: Satan is a very powerful spiritual being who is absolutely opposed to God and to everything good. Furthermore, the Bible tells us that he is actively working, often in unseen ways, to bring destruction and death wherever he can. Jesus labeled Satan a murderer from the beginning, not holding to the truth. It's John 8:44. Ultimately, therefore, Satan is responsible for all the evil in the world. But how does Satan work? Sometimes the Bible tells us he works in very direct ways, inserting himself into human affairs and openly trying to cause chaos and evil. At the beginning of Jesus' ministry, for example, Satan confronted Jesus directly, unsuccessfully tempting him to turn away from God's plan for his life. See Matthew 4, verse 1 through 11. But Satan often works indirectly, through the evil inclinations of our own hearts. We are not innocent bystanders. Within each of us is the capacity for great evil, whether we admit it or not. Yes, Satan has rebelled against God, but so have we, and we alone are responsible when we choose evil over good. The Bible says all have turned away, and there is no one who does good, not even one. Romans 3:12. This is why we need Christ, we need his forgiveness, and we need his strength to live the way we should. And he offers these to us as a free gift. When we turn to him by faith and open our hearts and lives to him. Commit your life to him today, the Bible says. Submit yourselves then to God. Resist the devil, and he will flee from you. That's James 4:7. Readers can write to Reverend Billy Graham at the Billy Graham Evangelistic Association, 1 Billy Graham Parkway, Charlotte, North Carolina, 28201, or call 8772-GRAHAM. The website for Billy Graham Evangelistic Association is at billygraham.org.
Okay. Now here's something for you. Let me clear my throat. 6 things to know on Election Day. Today is Election Day in Fayetteville, Hope Mills, Spring Lake, and other municipalities across North Carolina. Here's what you need to know. When can I vote? Voting throughout North Carolina is 6:30 a.m. to 7:30 p.m. today. If you are in line to vote at 7:30, you will be able to vote. What's on the ballot? In Fayetteville, mayor and city council races. Other municipalities also have races for mayor and city or town boards, and a few have referendums. Polling locations are dependent on where you live. Registered voters are assigned to a precinct. Go to page A4 for a list of precincts and voting sites. Not sure about your precinct? In recent elections, some residents who hadn't voted in a few years were confused. Terry Robertson, the Cumberland County Elections Director, said precinct boundaries were last changed in 2011. All voters were mailed a postcard detailing where to vote. To check your precinct, go to ncsbe.gov and click Voter Lookup, or you can call 910-678-7733. That's 678-7733. Voters who go to the wrong site will be able to vote in a municipal-wide election with a provisional ballot, but they won't be allowed to vote in district races, such as the city council. Voting in district races must be done in the right precinct. Is it too late to register to vote? Yes, the deadline is 25 days before the election. Do I need a photo ID to vote? No. You are required to tell the poll worker your full name and address. Where can I see the election results? We will have live results on FayObserver.com starting after the polls close at 7:30 p.m. And that was by Monica Mended-Twoley. So, gotta go vote when I leave here. I think there's only one thing on my ballot,
okay,
and that's the mayor. Because the district I live in, there's nobody running for council.
I think I'll go vote today.
Yeah.
After I leave here. directly.
I'm going to go. If you can, you should. No, it's the American way.
Yes. Cumberland County Elections Board has a new web address by Monica.
Then the Twoley is the best way I can figure.
Myron Pitts. The website address for the Cumberland County Board of Elections has changed as part of the county's main homepage redesign. The new address is co.cumberland.nc.us/departments/election group/elections. A Google search for the Board of Elections page over the weekend and Monday morning still provided the old web address, which does not redirect to the new site. Instead, users go to an error page. Terry Robertson, the county elections director, said users should be able to access the elections page from the main county page. Robertson added that she had heard people were getting better results if they got rid of bookmarks for the old web pages. Cumberland County spokeswoman Genevieve Mankel said the Board of Elections office received several calls from residents who were not able to find its website after completing a Google search. The county understands during this transition there may have been some confusion with search engines not directing users to the new site. Mankel said in an email, the county began working immediately to resolve this problem after it was identified and also submitted a new sitemap to Google and Bing. By the end of the business day Monday, the board's website had returned to Google and Bing searches. Mankel said the website was launched Thursday to coincide with the Cumberland County Facilities Committee meeting. That was the first opportunity in November to present the new Cumberland County website to the Cumberland County Board of Commissioners before the Monday meeting. The site needed to be rolled out before the November 6th Board of Commissioners meeting because the new site includes the county's new agenda software, Mankel said in her email. The software and website launches needed to coincide.
Okay, here's something from Hope Mills. Hope Mills Board could appoint new member. The Town Board of Commissioners may appoint a new commissioner if the late Bob Gorman is one of the top 5 vote getters in today's election, a county official said Monday. Terry Robertson, director of the Cumberland County Board of Elections, said either the current or the new board could appoint a member if Gorman is among the top 5. When I first read that, I couldn't figure out why, and then I read back and read it again and realized the man died. And his name is, of course, still on the ballot. So, anyway, I digress. She said the appointee would not necessarily have to be the next highest vote getter. If Gorman wins, Robertson said, he would be elected. His seat would be declared vacant, and that seat will be filled as set by law by the town board. Gorman, 71, died on Saturday. His wife said he had been suffering from pulmonary fibrosis. Gorman, who served as mayor pro tem, had served on the board since 2003 and was the longest tenured member. In the 2015 election, he was the highest vote getter among the board candidates. On Monday, the Board of Commissioners cancelled its scheduled meeting in honor of Gorman. Deborah Holland, interim town clerk, said scheduled business will be moved to the November 20th meeting. A visitation for Gorman is planned at the Southview High School auditorium Wednesday from 6 to 8 p.m. and a funeral is scheduled on Thursday at 2 p.m. at Westminster Presbyterian Church, 2505 Village Drive. Town offices will be closed during the funeral, Holland said, and going into today's election, the 5-member Hope Mills Board has 2 vacancies. Commissioner and former Mayor Edwin Deaver died in December. Oh my.
Wow. City to take part in opioid mapping project.
Ew.
Fayetteville and 9 other jurisdictions across the country are participating in a new initiative that seeks to help stem the nation's opioid epidemic through interactive mapping, data sharing, and collaboration. The 10 jurisdictions were chosen because they have shown early success in combating opioid abuse, said Jeremiah Lindenman, who is coordinating the project through New America and a mapping software and analytics company called Esri. Opioids, including prescription pain pills and heroin, killed more than 33,000 people in 2015, according to the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention. The New York Times reported that drug overdoses now kill more people than guns and car accidents. New America, a nonprofit think tank based in Washington, hopes to lower the statistics with an interactive map that puts a face on the people who died of an overdose, Lindemann said. Lindemann, who has worked for Esri for 16 years, said he got interested in the mapping project after his brother died of an opioid overdose about 10 years ago. The map, which is in its infancy, includes one entry from the Cape Fear region, a touching family tribute to Maxwell Lambert, a Clinton resident who died of an overdose in 2014. By putting a face on the people who died, Lindemann said he hopes the project will lead to better policy decisions and outcomes, including more resources and treatment programs. He said mapping the epidemic is his way of making people and communities more aware of the problems. Fayetteville was chosen for the project because it has done its own mapping of opioid abuse, in which first responders or police used the drug naloxone to reverse overdoses, Lindemann said. A study last year found that Fayetteville had the 18th highest rate of the prescription opioid abuse in the country. Rebecca Jackson, Strategy and Performance Analytics Director for the City of Fayetteville, has been working with police and emergency responders to develop local maps that pinpoint opioid overdoses. The idea is to be able to use GIS tools to attack the ongoing epidemic, Jackson said. You can't fix what you don't know. Lindemann said Fayetteville and the other jurisdictions will participate in monthly webcasts with New America, where they will share best practices and other information for fighting the opioid epidemic. Fayetteville has been a national leader in the war against opioids. Last year, Mayor Nat Robertson and Elizabeth Goolsby, director of the local Veteran Affairs Medical Center, teamed up to form Opioid Task Force, which has led to an opioid addiction hotline and a drug awareness campaign. State Attorney General Josh Stein and a ranking member of the Obama administration sat in on the task force meeting. Fayetteville became one of the first cities in North Carolina to equip police with the overdose reversal drug naloxone, and it was one of the first jurisdictions in the country to use the Law Enforcement Assisted Diversion Program, or LEAD, which diverts drug addictions, prostitutes, and other low-level criminals from prosecution into treatment, housing, education, and job training programs. Jackson said the city has applied for a 2017 Mayor's Challenge grant through Bloomberg Philanthropies. The charitable foundation offers $100,000 grants to 35 cities with a population of more than 30,000. The grant money is focused on solving a specific problem facing the city.
Okie dokie. Check the time here. Well, we don't need to do that yet. Lower energy costs save schools millions, by Steve Devane. Cumberland County schools have saved more than $3.74 million since 2011 by reducing energy costs, the head of the school system told county commissioners on Monday. Tim Kinlaw, interim superintendent of the Cumberland County Schools, gave a presentation on the school system's sustainability report at the Board of Commissioners meeting. He said the system annually pays about $9 million, which is 15% of funding from the county for utility bills. This is local money we're saving, he said. Cumberland County Schools work with Sustainable Sandhills to find ways to reduce energy costs. Schools that save money get a check for about 25% of the savings, Kinlaw said. The school system's energy saving program is called the Go Green Initiative. The program involves student lessons, pollution control, waste reduction and recycling, water conservation and efficiency, and energy conservation and efficiency. Kinlaw said students are involved in the effort. The kids call this the fun stuff, he said. The school system has saved money by using energy-efficient building materials, Kinlaw said. Also on Monday, Commissioners approved providing $5,000 to get a $1.22 million state grant to pay for removing debris from streams that was left when Hurricane Matthew hit the area last year. The money will be used to clear debris from parts of South River, Sandy Creek, and Locks Creek. Commissioners also approved a resolution allowing the Cape Fear Valley Health System to refinance a $152 million bond. The Commissioners also signed off on a $2.7 million in parks and recreation projects for towns in the county and met in closed session to discuss a legal matter.
Suspect sought in Red Springs shooting. Police are looking for a man they say shot another man in the parking lot of the Food Line grocery store on NC 211 in Red Springs. Terrell LaShawn Hunt, 31 of the 100 block of Benjamin Road in Maxton, identified Monday, is wanted in the shooting of Dwayne Vincent Fairley, 20 of the 200 block of East Fifth Avenue in Red Springs, police news release said. Officers responding to a report of shots fired about 10:30 p.m. found Fairley behind the grocery store with a gunshot wound to the left leg, the release said. Surveillance video from the store showed Hunt and Fairley shooting several times at each other in the parking lot, while customers and other bystanders ran for cover, the release said. Hunt fled after the incident. Fairley was taken to Southeastern Regional Medical Center in Lumberton, where he was treated and released. Detectives questioned him at the hospital, but he would not cooperate or answer questions, the release said. Fairley is charged with possessing a stolen firearm, possessing a stolen vehicle, possessing marijuana with intent to sell and deliver, misdemeanor injury to personal property, misdemeanor going armed to the terror of the public, and discharging a firearm in the town limits. Bail was set at $25,000. Hunt, who is considered armed and dangerous, 5 feet 11 inches tall, weighs 185 pounds, and has been seen riding in a silver Nissan Versa. Anyone with information is asked to call 911 or the Red Springs Police Department at 843-3454.
Okay. I've got 3 little things here, little tiny articles. The first one is very distressing to me. Second person charged in puppy deaths. I can't imagine this. A second person has been charged in the starvation death of 2 puppies. Anthony Jamal Winston Thorne, 24 of the 600 block of Banner Elk Drive in Fayetteville, was charged Monday with 2 counts of killing an animal by starvation. The date of the offense was listed on the warrant as July the 12th. Thorne is accused of failing to feed 2 puppies and of restraining them in a manner where they were unable to find their food. The warrant did not give the age of the puppies or other details. Thorne's bail was set at $10,000. Trina Peed, 41, whose address is given as the 6800 block of Wood Springs Road, was charged Thursday with the same offense. And that article was by Nancy Cleary. They can lock them up and throw the key away as far as I'm concerned. You all know I'm a dog lover. Okay, fire destroys burned mobile home. A fire destroyed a vacant double-wide trailer Monday in the Lafayette Plantation Mobile Home Park off Rayford Road. The fire at 1015 Cedar Crossing Road was reported at 5:30 p.m. according to a Fayetteville Fire Department news release. The trailer was engulfed in flames when firefighters arrived, the release said, but they managed to knock back the fire and reduce the heat and smoke to allow investigators to get inside. There were no injuries and the cause has not been determined. See, this is what I couldn't understand. Why a fire destroyed a burned mobile home? That sounded like... But it says here, it was the 3rd fire at the trailer this year, the release said. Fires were reported on July 1st and 2nd. Something up there, huh? And one more little one here. Christmas tours feature historic homes. 5 locations will be featured on the Moore County Historical Association's annual Christmas open house tour December the 3rd through the 10th. The Bryant House and McClendon Cabin at 3361 Mount Carmel Road near Carthage will be open December 3rd from 1 to 4 p.m. On December the 8th through the 10th from 1 to 4 p.m. the Shaw House, Saunders Cabin, and Garner House at Morganton Road and Broad Street in Southern Pines will be featured. The tours include decorations, live music, refreshments, and information about each of the sites. There is no admission charge. For more information, call 692-2051 or go to morehistory.com. And that's from Roger Mullen. Ah, look what time it is. Okay, this is the Southeastern North Carolina Radio Reading Service, a United Way partner agency. We broadcast from the campus of Fayetteville State University, and our signal is carried by WUNC Chapel Hill. As a non-profit agency, we rely on public donations. We request your support to continue our services. When making charitable donations, please keep the SENCRRS in mind. Our P.O. Box number is 35029, Fayetteville 28303. If you have any questions or comments, please call at 910-672-1600 or our toll-free number 1-844-709-5656. And your radio hosts are
Jessica Bullock
and Tina Beatty, and we are proud to serve you today.
It seems as if I read about him every Tuesday.
What's that?
Bergdahl.
This must be about the last one, don't you think?
I believe.
I think that he's been released or some such thing.
Experts, time in captivity weighed on judge's decision. The 5 years that Bo Bergdahl spent chained up and beaten by the Taliban after he walked off his post in Afghanistan in 2009 likely led to the judge's decision to spare him further confinement, military law experts said. Colonel Jeffrey Nance, the military judge who presided over Bergdahl's sentencing hearing on Fort Bragg, deliberated for 7 hours last week before announcing that the soldier would be demoted from sergeant to private, forfeit $1,000 per month for 10 months, and receive a dishonorable discharge. Bergdahl, who pleaded guilty October 16th to desertion, and misbehavior before the enemy, did not receive the prison time that prosecutors had been pursuing. He could have been sentenced to life in prison. Nance announced his decision just before noon on Friday without explanation. Military law experts have said the greatest evidence considered by the judge was likely Bergdahl's time in captivity. Bergdahl said that while he was held by the Taliban, his hands and legs were shackled to posts of a makeshift bed. He said his torso and legs were whipped with copper cables and the bottoms of his feet were burned with matches. He also was shown videos of executions and said his captors threatened to cut his head off. After an escape that lasted 8 days, Bergdahl was put in a cage with iron bars where he lived for 4 years. His health deteriorated and he dealt with bouts of dysentery from lack of proper nutrition and water. It really seemed like he had been punished enough, said Rachel Van Langdenham, a former Air Force lawyer who now teaches at Southwestern Law School in Los Angeles. Really, it's almost 5 years Bergdahl spent in captivity under really brutal conditions. She said it's the largest data point to what the judge gave the greatest weight. Peter Yellen, a former chief prosecutor for the 2nd Marine Division at Camp Lejeune, agreed that the judge probably heavily weighed Bergdahl's time in captivity. Yellen, who said desertion cases were among his most difficult to prosecute, said he expected the judge to spare Bergdahl from prison. The 5 years he spent as a prisoner of the Taliban is unspeakable conditions and punishment enough, he said. I don't think there would be any useful purpose in further imprisonment. The judge also probably considered the Army's responsibility for Bergdahl, who had previous why can I not say this today?
What is it?
Psychiatric
Oh, previous psychiatric discharge. Yeah, it's a funny word. It really is. It's all those consonants together.
Bergdahl, who suffers from a schizophrenia-like mental condition called schizotypal personality disorder, received an uncharacterized discharge from the Coast Guard after suffering a panic attack during basic training. Bergdahl said he told his Army recruiter about the discharge. Knowing he had psychiatric problems in the past, the Army still assigned him to a combat zone, which is devastating, Yellen said. Although Bergdahl didn't receive prison time, former Army lawyer Chris Pope said a dishonorable discharge is a substantial punishment. It's the most severe discharge available to an enlisted soldier, said Pope, which went into private practice in Fayetteville after retiring as a lieutenant colonel. The discharge, which triggers an automatic appeal, could impact the soldier's benefits and carries a stigma, he said. Bergdahl said he walked off his remote post in Afghanistan to raise concerns about problems he believed existed within his unit's leadership. He was captured by the Taliban within hours. His disappearance triggered extensive, hastily planned search missions, including 2 service members were injured. Prosecutors were seeking a sentence of 14 years in prison and a punitive discharge. During the sentencing hearing, prosecutors called service members who searched for Bergdahl and the wife of a National Guard soldier who was shot in the head while searching for the soldier. In unsworn testimony on October 30th, Bergdahl told the judge that walking off post was a horrible mistake. He said he didn't think anyone would go looking for him and he never intended for anyone to get hurt. Bergdahl added he was thankful for the determination and sacrifice of those service members who were injured searching for him. He was released in May of 2014 in exchange for prisoners being held at the U.S. military prison at Guantanamo Bay.
Okay, where are we? Okie dokie, now I think we'll do. Whoops, there's one. Where you go? Right there next. Okay, let's do Myron Pitt's column now. There's 2 pictures here. One is of Dave Hill, who's the chief judge at Cross Creek 25 voting precinct. That's where I vote. And at the top is a picture of people getting things ready for today. Excuse me. At the Oscars, the movie stars find out if they won with the opening of an envelope. For political candidates here in Cumberland County, part of their fate resides in Dave Hill's little black bag. Hill 77 is the chief judge at Cross Creek 25, a voting precinct in West Cumberland County. Polls will close at 7:30 p.m. today. Hill says by then he will have designated one of his precinct workers to drive the bag to the Cumberland County Board of Elections office on Fountainhead Lane downtown. The bag will include data cards with totals from the paper ballots and from the precinct's only iVotronic electronic voting machine. That's little I, big V. I sound like I'm in grade school, don't I? But it's a lowercase I and then a capital V and then Otronic is the rest of the word, whatever that means. The little black bag is sealed. I will just put a seal on it, he says. They want that just as soon as possible. Usually I can get them on their way about 7:45. Hill and his team will then remove the paper ballots from the machine that collects them. They stack them up. By 8:30 or 8:45, they are closing up shop. Hill will then take the ballots, computers, printers, and assorted paperwork to the elections office. All the sensitive items are put in my care, he says. If it all sounds like clockwork, there's a reason. Hill has been working this precinct for 20 years. It all began when a friend one time asked him if he wanted to make a little money working on election day. Hill joined up with an experienced precinct crew run by then Chief Judge Jack Broadus. Cross Creek 25 at the time was located at the Presbyterian Church on Riley Road, near the intersection with Morganton Road. Jack taught me very well, Hill says. Today, the precinct is run at the back of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints on Morganton Road, near the Riley Road intersection. The voting area is in a children's classroom, complete with a chalkboard and biblical images throughout. Around 2 p.m. on Monday, Hill was setting up the room along with Peter Stewart and Myrtle Simmons Green. They were busy unfolding the small voting booths where voters will fill out paper ballots. Setting up the room will take about an hour and a half. Church members had already folded the metal chairs and arranged them on a wall to make way for the voting operation. They're just very, very cooperative, Hill says of the congregation. They provide just about everything we need. We try not to make a lot of demands. Hill says Simmons Green has been working Cross Creek 25 almost as long as himself. She planned to be there Tuesday too, despite recent back surgery. I told you before I don't want you doing anything that's going to hurt you before coming here, Hill told Simmons Green with a laugh. He is a retired Army Special Forces, a former police officer years ago in Columbus, Georgia, and was a one-time owner of a roofing business where he employed homeless people. It's immediately evident that running a precinct is more than a job for him. He is the Cal Ripken Jr. of showing up at Cross Creek 25 every election. I haven't missed one, he said. He sees voting as a civic duty. I spend every chance that I get to talk to folks and always encourage them to come out and vote in their municipal elections, he says, because the municipal elections have the greatest impact on their quality of life. Hill has trained a lot of precinct workers in his time in the same way Broadus trained him. I learned a lot from working with him, says Liz Vassar, who is Chief Judge of Cross Creek 6 at Margaret Willis Elementary School. Dave trained a lot of people who are now Chief Judges. Election day can be long for people who run and staff voting precincts. Polls are open in the county starting at 6:30 a.m. He arrives at 5:30 a.m. By the time the precinct opens, he will usually have 4 or 5 people waiting in line to vote. Even on low turnout elections, as he expects Tuesday to be, Hill says they step outside for some fresh air when they can. Voters can be thoughtful, bringing the precinct workers sausage biscuits or asking if there's anything they need. It's almost like a reunion every election, Hill says. I get people coming in who I've seen for years, and of course we also have a lot of new ones also. It's really nice to get together with these folks and say hi and shake hands.
Letter to the Observer. Make parents be parents. I make reference to an October 27 article in the Observer titled "Board Looks at How to Improve Low-Performing Schools." This article suggested that 13 Cumberland County schools suffered from the administration's inability to maintain classroom discipline. This is what is needed. First, teachers must be allowed to teach. That means that the school administrations remove undisciplined students from the classroom immediately. Second, school administrators administer corrective behavior methods to the undisciplined students or send them home to their parents who take the responsibility to present their children to the school ready to learn. If this process doesn't work, Child Protective Services may be able to help. Furthermore, a mentor assigned to the family might solve the problem. For too long, school boards have signed up to the false idea that they not only provide an education to children but raise them as well, thereby letting parents off the hook. Taxpayer dollars are too short to allow this dual practice to continue. Let's learn something from this mess. School systems need to concentrate on education only. Parents need to man up to the privilege and responsibility of raising their children. Let's cut out the political correctness.
Oh, okay. That was a shorty. This is the Observer opinion today. This is their editorial opinion. Good government starts with a vote today. You're going to get a lot of articles about voting because there's a doozy in here.
Okay.
You see it? It's the Cumberland County voting sites. We'll save that for later. Then you can have a little nap. Okay. The election becomes history today. We'll have made our choices whether we went to the polls or not. Declining to participate is just as telling a statement as casting a vote. but the outcome isn't always the same. What shouldn't be optional at any step is citizen participation in government. Our democracy is only as strong as people who propel it, at the ballot box and in the daily operations of those government bodies that are the most important in our lives, the government that is closest to the people. About 4,000 Fayetteville residents turned out for an early voting this year, not an impressive number. It may be a sign of voter apathy, and it may be an open door for special interests to lock down their grip on government. That's how it works. In a year when few voters are motivated to go to the polls, a special interest can pump up its supporters, get them to the ballot box, and score a victory with only a handful of votes. And yes, Fayetteville has special interests, people who will profit when government is on their side. So we issue this last-minute plea, one we often make. If you haven't voted yet, please go to the polls today. All the city's polling places are open from 6:30 a.m. till 7:30 p.m. If you haven't voted yet, and most of Fayetteville hasn't, please do. The city has celebrated some great moves forward in the past 2 years, including passage of a $35 million Parks and Recreation bond issue and the decision to build a $33 million baseball stadium downtown, surrounded by a renovated Prince Charles Hotel and other residential and commercial properties. But there remains a great deal of work to be done, and it's essential to understand how to make this a safer city. Voting is just the beginning of the job. Too often the City Council meets in a nearly empty chamber. That's not the path to great government. We need more people involved in the life of our city, more people paying attention to the decisions that are being made, and fewer people griping about the quality of government but not lifting a finger to make things better. Good things may be happening in some parts of Fayetteville, but the needs are great in others. The council has too often turned its back on the city's legacy of poverty and the relentless cycle that sends each generation deeper into its grip. Councilman Kirk DeVere recognized this and devised a multi-agency program to reverse the trend, which is worse in Fayetteville than anywhere in the country. Oh my word. But DeVere decided to give up his council seat to run for mayor, and he was eliminated in the primary. We hope the entire council will pick up its support for his Pathways to Prosperity initiative. It will happen if Fayetteville residents demand it. So will many other good things. Successful democracy is hard work. It starts with people showing up. Please do that today and then keep doing it. It's a good article. My goodness.
Shooting raises safety concerns for churches. When the Reverend Larry Wright heard about a shooting Sunday at First Baptist Church in Sutherland Springs, Texas, he immediately thought of December 31st, 2015. A man opened fire inside a small Texas church Sunday morning, killing 26 people and wounding 20 others in the deadliest mass shooting in Texas history. The first thing that came to mind is the gunman who came in my church, Wright said. Wright, who is Fayetteville City Councilman, Fayetteville City Councilman, was giving a New Year's Eve sermon when a man armed with a semi-automatic rifle walked into Hill of the Land Outreach Ministries on Hall Street in the Old Wilmington Road neighborhood. Police later identified the man as Gregory Boone. Wright talked to Boone, who was pointing the gun in the air. The pastor calmed him down, took the weapon, and prayed with him. Wright said Monday that after hearing about the Texas shooting, he thanked God for helping him deal with the situation at his church. It could have went either way, Wright said. We could have had a bloodbath. Pastors in the Fayetteville area said the Texas shooting brings to mind the balance churches must keep between keeping parishioners safe and remaining open to people who need help. Reverend Jeff Hyder is pastor of London's First Baptist Church, which is similar to the Texas church. We fit that profile, country and small, he said. Hyder said he heard about the shooting Sunday afternoon. The thought goes through your mind how awful that must be, he said. Then you think we have open doors too. Hyder, who has been pastor of the church since January 2016, said he doesn't think the shooting will have much impact. He said the church's deacons might be a little more vigilant, but he doesn't expect the church to post armed guards at the door. The bottom line is we've been called to the church to be a church in London, he said. That's what we're going to do. Reverend Rob James, a pastor of First Baptist Church on Anderson Street in downtown Fayetteville, is from a town in Georgia that is similar to Sutherland Springs, Texas. A home church is no different than that in terms of size, he said. My heart just goes out to that community and church. James said a sanctuary is supposed to be a safe place, but the church also should be a place where broken people can come for help. We have people come in that we don't know all the time, he said. That's what a church should be, especially on Sunday morning. If we only let in people we knew, it'd be hard to spread the gospel. James said First Baptist has been exploring how to make the church more safe for about 2 months. This is just another example of why that's necessary, he said. James said he can see how the desire for security could go too far. You can make the church so locked down it can't be a church, he said. Wright said church leaders should think about safety. God is love, but the devil doesn't care where he goes, Wright said. Wright said his church will be getting security training. He said he doesn't think the move will make his church less welcoming. I think it will make people feel safer, he said. Wright, who was in the Army for 20 years, said his church is thinking about posting security guards in its parking lot. He said he has a permit to carry a concealed weapon. I feel it's the responsibility of every pastor to be sure his people are safe when they come to worship, he said. You hope for the best, but you have to prepare for the worst. Wright also said he thinks gun laws need to be tweaked. He said people who are mentally unstable should not be able to get a gun. There needs to be more stringent process before we put a weapon in someone's hands, he said.
Okay. Let's see what the time is. I have to do this, and if I don't, I'll quit in the middle. This is an op-ed piece by Albert R. Hunt, who's a Bloomberg View columnist. China moves up U.S. harbor is the title. An American president whose new administration is beset by chaos meets an emboldened leader of the world's other superpower. It's 1961 in Vienna, and John F. Kennedy, reeling from the Cuban Bay of Pigs fiasco, let's read that again, reeling from the Cuban Bay of Pigs fiasco, is bullied by Nikita Khrushchev with consequences. A year later, the leader of the Soviet Union surreptitiously put nuclear weapons 90 miles off American shores. A number of foreign policy experts cite this analogy in worrying about Donald Trump's meeting later this week with Chinese leader Xi Jinping as part of his long current Asian trip. The stakes potentially are huge, including the threat of nuclear conflict in North Korea. Today's two superpowers are coming from different directions. President Xi, consolidating his hold, probably is the most powerful Chinese leader since Mao Zedong. It's not just talk when he proclaims China is taking center stage in the world, replacing American influence on Asia, and filling a leadership void in much of the rest of the world. China is more confident today than any time in its history, notes Tom Donilon, National Security Advisor to Barack Obama and an Asia expert. Despite all of America's economic and military power, it's a weakened president who arrived in Asia this weekend. Trump is more unpopular than any previous president at this juncture. Neither he nor the U.S. command respect from many countries. Now that doesn't make sense. Neither he nor the U.S. command respect from many countries, and he is besieged by problems at home, especially a wide-ranging criminal investigation of his campaign and possibly him. None of that disappears because he's 10,000 miles away. Trump is not going in with a strong hand says Graham Allison, the Harvard professor and former national security official who wrote a book on the potential conflict between the two countries. He may not know what, or he may not know that. Don't know if that's the title of the book or if that's just a comment. Moreover, a 12-day, 5-nation Asian trip is punishing even for a president in good physical condition, which Trump is not, or who engages in careful preparation, which he does not. There will be too many opportunities for mishaps. There are favorable elements. Trump seems to have a genuinely good relationship with Prime Minister Shinzo Abe of Japan. In Beijing, the Chinese will roll out the red carpets with parades, ceremonies, and rhetorical flourishes proclaiming seminal success. They know Trump loves flattery. There are multiple substantive issues, including trade and real access to Chinese markets, not just a couple of deals likely to be announced, as well as frictions in the South China Sea. Amid some indications of a less aggressive Chinese posture there, but North Korea, with its expanding nuclear threat, is the dominant question. Trump plans to pressure Beijing to strong-arm the North to relinquish nuclear weapons. The Chinese have contempt for the regime in Pyongyang. Neither Xi nor Kim Jong-un have visited each other's countries since taking power. Some Chinese officials privately refer to the North Korean as Little Fatty. But the most unacceptable outcome for Xi is a regime collapse, a unified Korea. The Chinese won't sit still for that. Earlier this year, in a session at Mar-a-Lago, Xi explained the complexities of the Korean Peninsula to the U.S. president. This time he might offer another history lesson, reminding Trump that in 1950, General Douglas MacArthur assured Washington that a war with China over Korea was inconceivable. Then thousands of Chinese troops poured across the border to attack the American-led forces. More than 2.5 years later, President Dwight Eisenhower engineered a cessation to that conflict after more than 2.5 million casualties, including more than 36,000 Americans. The Chinese want to tamp down the tensions to avoid any conflict, to see the two sides, and stand down and begin negotiations. Is that an opportunity Trump should and can seize? The Washington Post's David Ignatius, the eminent foreign policy columnist, reports that Secretary of State Rex Tillerson and others have done a lot of preparatory work for this week. Let's hope that's sufficient, and Trump will pay heed. Kennedy, with a sense of history and diplomatic sensitivities, recovered from that disastrous Vienna summit. In the fall of 1962, he forced the Soviets to back down and remove weapons from Cuba in the closest the world has come to a nuclear confrontation. A show of hands of how many believe Trump could do likewise. Oh my, you want to do station identification?
Sure.
It's what time is it? Yeah, and you know what we're going to have to do now, don't you? Obits, right? It's obit time.
This is a Southeastern North Carolina radio reading service, a United Way partner agency. Rebroadcast from the campus of Fayetteville State University, and our signal is carried by WUNC Chapel Hill. As a nonprofit agency, we rely on public donations. We request your support to continue our services. When making charitable donations, please keep the SN, the Southeastern North Carolina Radio Reading Service, in mind. Our post office box number is 35029, Fayetteville, North Carolina 28303. If you have any questions or comments, please call at 910-672-1600 or our toll-free number at 1-844-709-5656. Your radio hosts today are
Tina Beatty
and Jessica Bullock, and we are proud to serve you today.
Right on the money there. Okay, time for obituaries. As you know, first we do the death notices, which are reports of deaths that have come up recently, and upcoming editions of the paper will have more complete information. So, from Cumberland County, I have my pencil ready here. Harold Lee Hank Bauman, Sr., 90, of Fayetteville. Rogers and Breese Funeral Home. I've got to get myself sorted out here. William R. Bill Wright, 81, of Fayetteville, Rogers and Breese. Rosalita L. Winters, 70, of Spring Lake, Terry Johnson, Funeral Service Licensee. Willie James Hare, 71, of Fayetteville, Herring Funeral Care and Cremations. Ralph Adams, 82, of Parkton, Colvin Funeral Home and Crematory. Taranda Ray, 45, of Fayetteville, Cunningham and Son Mortuary. Dorothea L. Harris, 43, of Fayetteville, Weissman Mortuary. Clara Kelly, 82, of Fayetteville, Weissman Mortuary. Betsy M. Whitted, 90, of Fayetteville, Weissman Mortuary. And from the region, Clifford L. McNeil of Rayford, Buey Funeral Home, and Alejandro Cantu IV, 24, of Cameron, Lafayette Funeral Home. Let's see. Okay, from Cumberland County. Fayetteville. Mrs. Florence McLaurin Fowler was a daughter, wife, grandmother, and great-grandmother, Gigi, for her 89 years of life here on Earth. A service honoring her life will be held at 3 p.m. Thursday, November the 9th, in Rogers and Breese Funeral Home Chapel, with Reverend Archie Barringer officiating. Service is entrusted to Rogers and Breese Funeral Home. Bob Gorman, this is from Hope Mills. Bob Gorman, at the top of the list, though it says his full name, so let's do that. Robert Bob Gorman Sr. From Hope Mills. Bob Gorman, 71, of Hope Mills, passed away Saturday, November the 4th. Down we go. The family will receive friends Wednesday, November the 8th, 2017, from 6 to 8 p.m. at Southview High School Auditorium. Funeral services officiated by Reverend Richard McDuffie will be held at 2 p.m. Thursday, November 9th, at Westminster Presbyterian Church. Condolences may be left at www.pinecrestfuneralservice.com. So obviously Pinecrest Funeral Service is in charge of the arrangements. From Fayetteville, Mrs. Leslie M. Johnson, age 93, of Fayetteville, departed this life on November the 3rd. Funeral services will be held on Wednesday, November 8th at 11 a.m. in the Smith Chapel FWB Church. Burial, Northside Cemetery. Preceding, Tina. There will be a viewing on Tuesday from 2 p.m. to 7 p.m. The family will receive friends Tuesday from 6 to 7 at Weissman Mortuary, and other times at the home of Thomas and Nora Lennon, 5513 Deep Hollow Court. Okay, let's see how much we got in this one. From Roseboro, Brenda K. Hales, 69, passed away Friday, November the 3rd. A graveside service will be held Sunday, November 12th at 2:30 at Beaver Dam Baptist Church Cemetery. In lieu of flowers, donations may be sent to St. Jude's Children's Hospital. Arrangements by Cape Fear Crematory Incorporated. I'm going to give you these. The rest of them start here and carry on, and if you get...
Start here?
Yeah, start there. And if you get tired of them, pass them back, okay?
Fayetteville, the first day of November 2017, Mildred Reese Lucas Oglesby left this earthly world on the wings of an angel and joined the Heavenly Father. A graveside service will be held on Wednesday, November 8th. 2017 at noon at Sand Hill State Veteran Cemetery on Fort Bragg, North Carolina, with Reverend Lorenzi Hooks Jr. of officiating an interment to follow. A visitation for family and friends will be held on Tuesday, November 7, 2017 at Adcock Funeral Home in Spring Lake from 5 to 7 p.m. Condolences may be made at Adcock Funeral and Crematory.com. Julia McCutcheon, Warner died on Saturday, November 4, 2017 in Durham, North Carolina. A memorial service will be held at 2 p.m. on Wednesday, November 9, 2017. Visitation in the parlor at 1 p.m. at Hay Street United Methodist Church in Fayetteville, North Carolina. On Thursday at 1 o'clock, burial will be at Maplewood Cemetery in Durham, North Carolina. In lieu of the flowers, donations may be made to Hay Street Methodist Church or to a charity of the donor's choice. Arrangements are under the care of Paul Wynn Funeral Service. Online condolences, paulwynn.com, select obituaries. Dunn. Carolyn DeBeau Wrench, 93 of Dunn, died Monday, November 6, 2017. Funeral Wednesday, 2 p.m. Skinner and Smith Funeral Home. Visitation, Skinner and Smith Funeral Home, Wednesday, 1 p.m. to 2 p.m. Burial, Devotional Gardens, Skinner and Smith Funeral Home. Clinton, Mr. Ernest Wilbert Parker, 83, passed away Sunday, November 5th at 2017 at his home. The funeral service will be held at 11 a.m. Friday, November 10th at Freedom Baptist Church, 2099 Tyndall Bridge Road, Salemburg, with Reverend Paul Honeycutt officiating. Burial with military honors will follow at Parker Cemetery. The family will receive friends from 6 to 8 p.m. on Tuesday, November 9th at Butler Funeral Home, 401 West Roseboro Street, Roseboro. Memorials may be made to Freedom Baptist Church, P.O. Box 338, Salemburg, North Carolina 28385. Services are by Butler Funeral Home of Roseboro. Broadway. Mr. David Bryant, age 74, of 2039 Bella Bridge Road, Broadway, North Carolina, departed this life on Tuesday, October 31st, 2017. Funeral services will be held on Thursday, November 9th at 10:30 a.m. in the Wiseman Mortuary Chapel. Burial, Sand Hill State Veterans Cemetery. He is survived by son Darren Brandt, sister Shirley J. Cullen, and a host of other relatives and friends. There will be a viewing on Thursday, November 9th from 9 a.m. to 10:30 a.m. at the funeral home. Cameron. Cora Sue Nance, 79 of Cameron, died Friday, November 3rd, 2017. Funeral will be held on Friday at 1 p.m. at Sullivan's Highland Funeral Service. Visitation, Sullivan's Highland Funeral Service, Friday from 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. Burial, Cumberland Memorial Gardens, Sullivan's Highland Funeral Service and Crematory. Faison, Jane Ellen Bradshaw, 87 of Faison, died Sunday, November 5th, 2017. Her funeral will be held Tuesday, 7 p.m. Poplar Grove Missionary Baptist Church. Visitation, Poplar Grove Missionary Baptist Church, Tuesday from 7:30 p.m. at 7:30 p.m. Burial, Devotional Gardens, Crumpler Honeycutt Funeral Home. Pine Bluff, Barbara A. Lupo, 68 of Pine Bluff, died Sunday, November 5th, 2017. Funeral, Friday, 2 p.m. Yates Thadgard Baptist Church, 3820 Bass Carthage Road, Carthage. Visitation at the church, Friday, 1 p.m. to 2 p.m. Burial, Bethesda Cemetery, Aberdeen. In Rayford, Doretha L. Harris, 43 of Rayford, died Sunday, November 5th. Visitation, Wiseman Mortuary, Thursday, 5 p.m. to 7 p.m. Burial, Waycross, Georgia, Wiseman Mortuary.
Oh, that's it? Well, now it's time for Dear Abby. We've already done well, I'm alright, aren't I? We've already done Billy Graham, so we're going to do Dear Abby now. Dear Abby, I'm responding to Wallowing in the North, June 16th, who has a wonderful life and has accomplished all the goals he set out for himself at age 56, but now feels no spark to carry on. Abby, he's in a unique position to help someone else who hasn't had all these advantages in life. He could foster a child and enlighten that child about a world he or she might never know without his help. Wouldn't it spark something inside him to see a child's reaction to things the writer may have experienced 100 times and took for granted? There's so much ugliness and anger in this world. He could play a small part in turning that around. Or, if helping a child isn't for him, there are many other wonderful causes to get involved in. Aiding a cancer patient in hospice, being involved in protecting the environment, helping a small business. The list is endless, and the need is so great. Any of these endeavors could help him relight his spark. Finding meaning in life can be as simple as extending a hand to someone who can really use it. And that's signed, Found My Spark. And Abby says, Dear Found, you and many other readers offered wonderful suggestions. I appreciate the spirit of helpfulness in which readers responded, hoping to inspire the writer of that letter. Read on for a sample. Dear Abby, tell Wallowing to pick up a course catalog from his local community college and enroll in some classes. He can take art and learn to paint, sculpt or make ceramics, study photography and learn to shoot better pictures, take woodworking and build furniture, take an American Sign Language class, and volunteer to work with the deaf, or sign up for a foreign language, culinary, or film appreciation course. I'm just scratching the surface, because community colleges have something for everyone. I have taught in one and have been an administrator. It's a wonderful place to find yourself, whether you're 18, 88, or 56. And that's signed Diana in California. Dear Abby, here's another one. If Wallowing is truly tired of dealing with most people, he may want to begin connecting with nature. He could plant or nurture a garden, or install a few birdhouses and let the birds happily serenade him each day. Engaging with nature can change a person for the better and can also change the lives of those around you. And that's from Nature Love in Pennsylvania. Dear Abby, I would like to suggest Wallowing talk to his doctor about his testosterone level. If I did it and it boosted my self-esteem, drive and energy, and that's signed Roger in Oklahoma. Dear Abby, may I suggest he have his vitamin D levels checked? I too experienced a loss of desire and passion for life when I was close to his age. Turned out my vitamin D levels were extremely low. Once I started taking a supplement, my interest and excitement in life returned. And that's been through it in Kansas City. And here's the last one. Your advice should have included becoming active in a church, synagogue, or charitable organization. Helping others, whether locally or on a mission trip, yields 3 results. It has a positive impact on those being helped. It increases the giver's sense of self-worth. Let's read that again. It increases the giver's sense of self-worth and reminds us how truly blessed we truly are. Lover of life in Texas. And dear lover and dear readers, amen, says Abby. Oh my. Now, Jessica has a long list of polling places, right, Jessica?
Very long list.
You might want to get a snack.
Okay, voters must go to their assigned precinct to vote in today's municipal elections. To check your precinct, go online to ncsbe.gov and select voter/absentee. Look up or call 678-7733. Polls are open from 6:30 a.m. to 7:30 p.m. Aaron Hills, Fayetteville Fire Station, 176701 Bailey Lake Road. Almond 1, Church of the Nazarene, 1844 Riconda Place. Almond 2, West Regional Library, 7469 Century Circle. Black River, Falcon Town Hall, 7156 Southwest Street. Falcon. Black River, Godwin Town Hall, 4924 Markham Street, Godwin. Brentwood, Aaron Lake Baptist Church, 1130 Bingham Drive. Cliffdale West 1, Bill Hefner Elementary School, 7059 Calamar Drive. Cliffdale West 2, Lake Rim Recreation Center, 1455 Hoke Loop Road. Cross Creek 1, Fayetteville Fire Station, 1607 Person Street. Cross Creek 2, Cold Breath Memorial United Methodist Church, 1813 Sloan Avenue. Cross Creek 3, Albert B. Williams High School, 1429 Skylow Road. Cross Creek 4, Lions Civic Center, 725 West Rowan Street. Cross Creek 5, Ramsey Street, Alternative School, 117 Quincy Street. Cross Creek 6, Margaret Wills Elementary School, 1412 Belvedere Street. Cross Creek 7, Snyder Memorial Baptist Church, 701 West Mount Drive. Cross Creek 8, Holy Trinity Episcopal Church, 1601 Rayford Road. Cross Creek 9, Christ Village Resort and Conference Center, 3415 Green Valley Road. Cross Creek 10, Fayetteville Fire Station 5, 3040 Boone Trail Extension. Cross Creek 11, Massey Hill Recreation Center, 1612 Camden Road. Cross Creek 12, Van Story Hills Elementary School, 400 Foxhall Road. Cross Creek 13, Arthur D. Smith Recreation Center, 1520 Slater Avenue. Cross Creek 14, Kiwanis Recreation Center, 352 Denver Street. Cross Creek 15, Glendale Acres Elementary School, 2915 Skycrest Drive. Cross Creek 16, E.E. Smith High School, 1800 Seabrook Road. Cross Creek 17, West Area Elementary School, 941 Country Club Drive. Cross Creek 18, Max Abbott Middle School, 590 Winding Creek Road. Cross Creek 19, Teresa C. Berrien Elementary School, 800 North Street. Cross Creek 20, Bordeaux Branch Library, 3711 Village Drive. Cross Creek 21, Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, 3200 Scotty Hill Road. Cross Creek 22, Reed Ross Classical School, 3200 Ramsey Street. Cross Creek 23, 1 North Regional Library, 855 MacArthur Road. Cross Creek 23, 2 Howard Hall Elementary School, 526 Andrews Road. Cross Creek 24, Campground United Methodist Church, 4625 Campground Road. Cross Creek 25, Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, 6420 Morgantown Road. Cross Creek 26, Morganton Road Elementary School, 102 Bonanza Drive. Cross Creek 27, Cliffdale Recreation Center, 6404 Cliffdale Road. Cross Creek 28, 1 John D. Fuller Recreation Center, 6627 Old Bunts Road. Cross Creek 28, 2 Fayetteville Fire Station 8, 1116 71st School Road. Cross Creek 29, Montclair Elementary School, 555 Glensford Drive. Cross Creek 30, Ireland Drive Middle School, 1606 Ireland Drive. Cross Creek 31, Fayetteville Fire Station 12, 307 Hope Mills Road. Cross Creek 32, Westover Recreation Center, 267 Bonanza Drive. Cross Creek 33, Fayetteville Fire Station 9, 5091 Santa Fe Drive. Cross Creek 34, Church of the Open Door, 4445 Cliffdale Road. Cumberland 1A, E. Melvin Honeycutt Elementary School, 4665 Lakewood Drive. Cumberland 2, Sherwood Park Elementary School, 2115 Hope Mills Road. Cumberland 3, Cumberland Mills Elementary School, 2576 Hope Mills Road. Cumberland 4, John Griffin Middle School, 5551 Fisher Road. Eastover 1, Lebanon Baptist Church, 3329 Barrett Road. Eastover 2, Baywood Pentecostal Holiness Church, 1830 Baywood Road. Hope Mills 1A, Hope Mills Recreation Center, 5766 Rockfish Road. Hope Mills 2A, Cotton Fire Department, 4618 Calico Street. Hope Mills 2B, Grays Creek Middle School, 5151 Celebration Drive. Hope Mills 3, Hope Mills Middle School, 4975 Cameron Road. Hope Mills 4, C. Wayne Collier Elementary School, 3522 Sturbridge Drive. Judson Vander Fire Department, 3509 Clinton Road. Lake Rim, Fayetteville Fire Station, 117690 Rayford Road. Linden Fire Station, 204731 Main Street. Long Hill, Cedar Falls Baptist Church, 6181 Ramsey Street. Manchester, W.T. Brown Elementary School, 2522 Andrews Church Road. Montebello, E.E. Miller Recreation Center, 1347 Rum Road. Morganton Road, Benjamin Martin Elementary School, 430 North Raleigh Road. Pierce Mill, 2B, Manna Church, 3736 Legion Road. Pierce's Mill 3, Board of Education Administrative Office, 2465 Gillespie Street. Spring Lake 1, Municipal Complex, 300 Root Street. Spring Lake 2, Spring Lake Library, 101 Lake Tree Boulevard. Stedman Community Building, 335 First Street. Stony Point 1, Stony Point Recreation Center, 7411 Rockfish Road. Stony Point 2, Lighthouse Baptist Church, 5991 Rockfish Road. Wade Volunteer Fire Department, 7130 Powell Street. West Area 1, College Lakes Recreation Center, 4945 Rose Hill Road. West Area 2, Warren Road Elementary School, 4618 Rose Hill Road. And that was the list of Cumberland County voting sites.
Whoa. And now it's time for horoscope. We don't have anyone on our list that has a birthday today, but if we've missed you, we do apologize. And if you were born today, you thrive on diversity in all its forms, and you will never be satisfied doing only one thing in your life for years and years. You are the kind to live life to the fullest every day. That's nice. What a nice horoscope. And the rest of you Scorpios, your ambition is growing, but you can of course maintain the proper level of realism as you consider what might be possible in the near future. Sagittarius, you don't understand what others are up to, and they certainly don't understand what you're up to either. It's time to come together. Capricorn, an obstacle that is self-inflicted proves quite difficult to overcome today. Even going around it all is all but impossible right now. Aquarius, don't fall into the trap of thinking that you must explain yourself at every turn. Some things are best left to the imagination. Pisces, a new idea comes to you through unfamiliar channels, and you may not feel that it is appropriate for you to explore it fully just yet. Aries, don't take offense at the challenge that is being mounted against you by a rival. You can bet that it's purely business, at least for now. Taurus, take care you don't let others see the tricks of your trade, for right now a fun deception is your most valuable ally. Gemini, you may unite with someone from afar today to work for a cause that is bigger than both of you. You will want to solicit support. Cancer, retrace recent steps and you're likely to recover something that was lost. In the process, you're likely to learn an important lesson. Leo, you may have the opportunity today to trade something no longer useful to you, but for something that is. But is it too good to be true? Virgo, you'll welcome any help that comes your way today, even though the problem you face is not all that large. Your mind is elsewhere. And finally, Libra, you are able to demonstrate a little more of your particular specialty today, thanks to a friend who knows how valuable it really is. And that's it for the horoscopes today.
Public safety, Cumberland County. Arrest. Kamal Divine Rogers, 29, of the 700 block of Crown Avenue, was charged Monday with larceny of a motor vehicle, possessing a stolen motor vehicle, and obtaining property by false pretense. Bail was set at $15,000. Christopher O'Brien Belt Jr., 34, of the 1300 block of Kenneth Drive in Spring Lake, was charged Monday with possession of a stolen firearm. Bail will be set today by a district court judge, since Belk has a pending firearm-related charge and was convicted of a firearm-related offense in the past 5 years. Joseph John Hernandez, 24, of Ohio, was charged Monday with 2 counts each of obtaining property by false pretense and 2 counts of possessing a controlled substance. Bail was set at $2,000. Paul Miguel Roy, 29, of the 1700 block of Cardinal Drive, was charged Monday with trafficking in marijuana and conspiring to traffic in marijuana. Bail was set at $25,000. Dominique Isaiah Ryan, 26, of the 400 block of Greyhawk Place, was charged Sunday with embezzlement. Bail was set at $1,500. Break-in on Owen Drive, Metro PCS 2956 Owen Drive, reported at 3:22 a.m. Monday. Nothing reported missing.
Are you done?
Yes.
Well, here's another cheery one. This is support groups, and this takes a little while too, so. Tuesday support groups. Adult children of alcoholic codependency, 1 to 2 p.m. Friends in Recovery Group, Snyder Memorial Baptist Church, room B 1035, 701 Westmont Drive, phone number 988-6858. Al-Anon Serenity Seekers Group, noon, Snyder Memorial Baptist Church, room B 1035, 701 Westmont Drive, 850-1444. Take off pounds sensibly, 5:30 p.m. West End Baptist Church Fellowship Hall, 805 West Drive in Lumberton. 5:30 p.m. Coates United Methodist Church, 288 East South Street. 6 p.m. Riley Road Presbyterian Church, 208 South Riley Road. And 6 p.m. College Lakes Recreation Center, 4945 Rose Hill Road. 6:30 p.m. Dominion Church, 1874 Cedar Creek Road, 800-932-8877. Okay, Alcoholics Anonymous. Oh, there's a lot in this one. 7 a.m., noon, 5:30, 8, and 11 p.m. at 626 Sandalwood Drive. Noon, 5:30, 7 p.m. at 604 German Street. Noon, 1601 Rayford Road. Noon, MT 2357 Quartermasters, Fort Bragg. Noon, 6:30 p.m. 401 East Street. No, that's wrong, Tina. 401 East 1st Street, Lumberton. 5:30 p.m. Marvin United Methodist Church, 6740 Highway 87 South. 6:30 p.m. Detour Cafe, 6781 Camden Road. 7:30 p.m. 2704 East Broad Street, Elizabethtown. 7 to 8 p.m. 326. Here we go. 326 Martin Luther Drive. Oh, wait a minute. We need a time on that one. 7 and 8 p.m. 326 Martin Luther King Drive in Maxton. 8 p.m. Trinity United Methodist Church, 6974 Rayford Road. 8 p.m. First Baptist Church, 301 North Main Street in Fairmont. 8 p.m. 122 West 3rd Street, Red Springs. 8 p.m. 705B Wesley Pines Drive, Lumberton. 8 p.m. Bladen County Hospital. Hotlines are 678-8733 or 678-8002. So if you can't find one there and there's not so much, you go ahead and I'll finish these up after you do the station ID.
This is the Southeastern North Carolina Radio Reading Service, United Way Partner Agency. We broadcast from the campus of Fayetteville State University, and our signal is carried by WUNC Chapel Hill. As a nonprofit agency, we rely on public donations. We request your support to continue our services. When making charitable donations, please keep the Southeastern North Carolina Radio Reading Service in mind. Our post office box number is 35029, Fayetteville, North Carolina 28303. If you have any questions or comments, please call at 910-672-1600 or our toll-free number at 1-844-709-5656. Your radio hosts today are
Tina Beatty
and Jessica Bullock, and we are proud to serve you today.
Okay, to continue with the support groups, Al-Anon, 6:30 p.m. 401 East 1st Street, Lumberton, and 7 p.m. 320 Hay Street. And the phone number for that is 678-8002. Narcotics Anonymous, to find weekly meeting times and locations, call 866-418-9500 or go to crna.org. Gibson Cancer Center's Terrific Tuesday, 9 a.m. to noon for patients and families. Phone number 671-5730. Diabetes Management Clinic, 8 a.m. to noon, Better Health of Cumberland County, 1422 Bragg Boulevard, 483-7534. Diabetes Support Group, 5:30 p.m., Diabetes Community Center, 4300 Fayetteville Road in Lumberton, 671-5595. Man Talk, 6 to 7:30 p.m., Cape Fear Valley Cancer Center Conference Room for male cancer patients and survivors. Phone number there, 615-4626. Compassionate Friends, 7:30 p.m., Medical Arts Center Conference Room, 101 Robinson Street, for families who have experienced the death of a child. The number there, the phone number is 245-3177. And finally, Cumberland County National Alliance on Mental Illness, 7 to 8:30 p.m., Cumberland County Mental Health Center, Conference Room, 109 Bradford Avenue, 709-6685.
Judge denies challenge to state voting software. Raleigh. With only hours to go before today's municipal elections, a trial judge has turned away the state's effort to avoid using the polling place software of the company targeted by Russian hackers last year. Lawyers for the state elections board said that the election day poll book software that VR Systems provides to nearly 30 of North Carolina's 100 counties hasn't been officially certified. VR Systems persuaded an administrative law judge last Friday to side with the Florida-based company, which says the software remains approved under the original certification it obtained 8 years ago in 2009. Superior Court Judge Paul Ridgway declined to intervene, deferring to Administrative Law Judge Don Overby's ongoing oversight of the case, including a proposed hearing set for next spring. The Elections Board formally asked the State Court of Appeals late Monday to delay the enforcement of Overby's restraining order and preliminary injunction.
Okay, I found 3 little local articles that somehow I managed to overlook. Okay, this is from Lumberton. 2 Robeson County men faced drug-related offenses after police executed a search warrant Thursday at a house in southwest Lumberton. The search on the 100 block of Arnett Street, about a half mile off NC 41, was done about 10:45 a.m., according to a Lumberton Police News release. Officers found 9.5 pounds of marijuana, 81 doses of the narcotic painkiller oxycodone, and 4 guns, the release said. Aaron Floyd, 29, who lives at the Arnett Street house, and Craig McCormick, 34, of Oxford Circle in Rowland, were charged with possession of marijuana, possessing marijuana with intent to sell and deliver, and maintaining a drug vehicle. Floyd also was charged with maintaining a drug dwelling, trafficking in opiates, and possession of a firearm by a felon. Bail was set at $250,000 for Floyd and $75,000 for McCormick. A third man, Justin Whitted, 27, of Lake Drive in Lumberton, was charged with resisting arrest. Bail there was set at $5,000.
More man killed in motorcycle wreck. Carthage, a Jackson Springs man died Sunday when his motorcycle ran off Richmond Road in Foxfire and hit a stand of trees, authorities said. William Walters, 49, of Ridge Road, operating a Kawasaki Ninja motorcycle, was between Vineyard Place and North Paramount Drive, about a mile from Hoffman Road. About 3:50 p.m., he rounded a curve and ran off the right side of the road. Walters was ejected when the motorcycle hit the trees, authorities said. He was pronounced dead at the scene. Richmond Road was closed for more than an hour as a result of the crash.
So dangerous, motorcycles. I always think they are. Okay, one more small one. Motorist dies in single car wreck. Oh dear. From Aberdeen, a Moore County man died Monday in a single vehicle wreck near Carthage, the NC Highway Patrol said. The accident happened at 2:19 p.m. on Joel Road at Star Ridge Road, about 2 miles south of Carthage. Ray Hampton Jr., 52, of Whispering Pines, driving a Mercury Grand Marquis, was traveling on Star Ridge Road when he ran a stop sign at the intersection, authorities said. The car traveled through a field and crashed into a large tree. Hampton was pronounced dead at the scene. A preliminary investigation indicates Hampton may have suffered a medical episode, the NC Highway Patrol said, but a final determination on the cause has not yet been made. Firefighters and rescue personnel were on the scene an extended time period, freeing Hampton from his heavily damaged vehicle.
Unsustainable. Why debt from GOP tax cuts might impose a painful price. Washington. When House Republicans proposed their tax cut plan last week, critics noted that it came with a towering price. It would swell the nation's debt by $1.5 trillion at a time when the economy is already faring well on its own, and a vast generation of retiring baby boomers threaten to strain the Social Security and Medicare programs. President Donald Trump and Republicans in Congress argued that their plan, which would shrink the corporate tax rate and end taxes for most wealthy states, would accelerate economic growth. It would do so, they say, by leaving more after-tax money for business to invest and to increase pay for their employees, who would then spend more and help invigorate the economy. Kevin Hassett, a chairman of the White House Council of Economic Advisors, has contended that the proposal to cut the corporate tax rate to 20% from 35% could, by itself, enlarge the economy by up to $1.2 trillion over the long run and eventually add $4,000 a year to average household income. Those claims were promptly dismissed as wildly optimistic by Democrats and many economists. Adding to the government's debt poses risk too. More debt could drive interest rates up as the government competes with private borrowers for credit. It could also eventually require cuts to popular spending programs, and it might leave policymakers with less ammunition the next time a recession strikes. For now, the American economy is already gliding along at a decent pace. Growth has come in at solid annual rate of 3% or better in each of the past 2 quarters. Employers have added jobs for a record 85 straight months. Corporate profits are strong, and the unemployment rate is 4.1%, its lowest level in nearly 17 years. All of which is why some analysts argue that big tax cuts aren't needed now, even if they would help stimulate the economy, which is for sure. Instead, policymakers and lawmakers could be capitalizing on good times to take a whack at the government's surging debt, $14.8 trillion, or $20.5 trillion if you including debts the government owes itself. In a report last month, the International Monetary Fund included that many wealthy countries could afford to pare their deficits by raising taxes on the wealthiest without jeopardizing economic growth. We should be running surpluses when the economy is strong, William Gale, co-director of the Tax Policy Center, wrote in a blog post after the tax plan was released last week. The proposed tax cuts would add to an already unsustainable long-term fiscal situation. Mark Zandi, chief economist at Moody's Analytics, said the cost of the Republicans' proposed tax cuts would add considerably to the federal debt burden, which now includes 75% of U.S. gross domestic product, the broadest measure of economic output. By 2027, Zandi said that burden would equal 97% of the GDP with the tax plan, 87% without it. It's an unsustainable debt path, Zandi says.
Okay, this is about, well, it's from Bonn in Germany, and it's a little bit about Fiji. Fiji's Prime Minister called for a sense of urgency in the fight against global warming on Monday, telling negotiators, "We must not fail our people," as he opened 2 weeks of talks on implementing the Paris Accord on combating climate change, which is already affecting his Pacific Island nation. I mean, just imagine, that's not a very big place, you know. While diplomats and activists gathered in Bonn, the UN Weather Agency said 2017 is set to become the hottest year on record, aside from those impacted by the El Nino phenomenon. Don't we know that? It was a hot year. It's still hot every other day. The talks in Germany are the first major global climate conference since President Donald Trump announced that the U.S. will pull out of the 2015 Paris Accord unless he can secure a better deal, and the first time that a small island nation is chairing such a conference. Negotiators will focus on thrashing out some of the technical details of the Paris Accord, which aims to limit global warming to 1.5 degrees Celsius. While Trump has expressed skepticism, a recent U.S. government report concluded there is strong evidence that man-made climate change is taking place. Fiji Prime Minister Borika Frank Bainimarama, the Bonn Conference's chairman, offered greetings from one of the most climate vulnerable regions on Earth, underlining our collective plea for the world to maintain the course we set in Paris. The need for urgency is obvious, he said. Our world is in distress from extreme weather events caused by climate change. We must not fail our people and must make the Paris Accord work, Bainimarama said, adding that means to meet our commitments in full, not back away from them. Just think, if you lived on a small island, and I mean the seas are rising, they've established that. Mm-hmm. I suppose you're looking at one day not having much left at all.
Not much. Bills in a divided Congress could lead to shutdown. Washington, an early December government shutdown is a real possibility. Since a divided Congress can't agree on military spending, Democrats insist on helping for young immigrants, and President Donald Trump's position can change with each lawmaker he talks to. Most of Washington is focused on overhauling the nation's tax code. Lawmakers face a combustible mix of must-do and could-do items, with the current government spending bill set to expire December 8th. On the list are immigration and U.S.-Mexico border wall In the past, over children's health care, pent-up demand for budget increases for the Pentagon and domestic agencies, and tens of billions of dollars in hurricane aid. There's plenty at stake for Republicans controlling Washington. Politically, there's an urgency to avoid a debilitating shutdown, just as the GOP hopes to wrap up an overhaul of the tax code at its top priority. And leaders of GOP defense hawks are adamant that the Pentagon receive a huge 2018 budget hike approaching 80 to 90 billion. Trump and many followers want the U.S.-Mexican wall. Democrats retain considerable power in the endgame. Their votes are needed and are pressing demands of their own. They want protections for immigrants who were brought to the U.S. illegally as young children. They also demand budget increases for domestic agencies. I think we're headed in a good direction on the spending cap, Senator Roy Blunt said Monday. I don't know that we will get to immigration this year, but that's a pretty easy thing to settle if the Democrats will give the president some of what he wants. I think he will be willing to be pretty forward-leaning on kids who were brought to the country illegally. For his part, Trump tends to waver depending on the situation, citing the Democrats on a debt deal in September, promising Republicans last week that the controversial immigration issue won't be part of the year-end spending measure. Meanwhile, the tax debate is taking up energy, time, and political capital, and GOP leaders seem reluctant to issue controversial decisions that might harm its chances.
Okay, this is an article about the gunman in Texas. I'll keep my eye on the clock so that we'll remember to do the television schedule. We need to start that about 5 till, you know, because it's in there somewhere, sweetie. Don't know where. I covered it over. Okay, this is from Sutherland Springs, Texas. Jim Vertuno wrote this from the Associated Press. The gunman who killed 26 people at a small-town Texas church sent threatening text messages to his mother-in-law before the attack, which appeared to have been driven by domestic tensions, authorities said Monday. A day after the deadliest mass shooting in the state history, investigators also revealed that the shooter had been confronted about domestic violence at least twice in the last 5 years, including an assault on his ex-wife and a child that ended his Air Force career, and another report of violence against a girlfriend who became his second wife. In the tiny community of Sutherland Springs, population 400, grieving townspeople were reeling from their losses. The dead ranged from 18 months to 77 years old and included multiple members of some families. Our church was not comprised of members or parishioners. We were a very close family, said Sherry Pomeroy, the wife of the church pastor who was out of town with her husband when the attack happened. Now most of our church family is gone. The couple's 14-year-old daughter, Annabelle Pomeroy, was among those killed. The massacre appeared to stem from a domestic situation and was not racially or religiously motivated, Texas Department of Public Safety Regional Director Freeman Martin said. Based on evidence at the scene, investigators believe Devin Patrick Kelly died of a self-inflicted gunshot wound after he was chased by bystanders, one of whom was armed and crashed his car. I don't know who crashed their car, whether it was Mr. Kelly or the man with the gun, but we go on. The 26-year-old shooter also used his cell phone to tell his father he had been shot and did not think he would survive, authorities said. The investigation showed that Kelly had displayed a pattern of violence spanning years. In 2014, sheriff's deputies went to his home to check out a domestic violence complaint involving him and his then-girlfriend. People in the house said there was no problem and no arrests were made. Kelly married the girlfriend 2 months later. That same year, Kelly was discharged from the Air Force for the assault involving his previous wife. He had served 12 months of confinement after a 2012 court-martial. He was also charged with misdemeanor animal cruelty in 2014 in Colorado and was the focus of a protective order issued in that state in 2015. The gunman's family relationships at the First Baptist Church in Sutherland Springs were uncertain. The sheriff said the shooter's former in-laws sometimes attended services at the church, but were not there on Sunday. Martin said the text messages were sent to the gunman's mother-in-law, who attended the church. It was unclear if they were referring to the same people. Once the shooting started, there was probably no way for congregants to escape, Wilson County Sheriff Joe D. Tackett Jr. said. The gunman, dressed in black tactical gear, fired an assault rifle as he walked down the center aisle during worship services. He turned around and continued shooting on his way out of the building, Tackett said. Goodness me. About 20 other people were wounded. 10 of them were still hospitalized Monday in critical condition. Authorities said Kelly lived in New Braunfels, about 35 miles north of the church. Investigators were reviewing social media posts he made in the days before the attack, including one that appeared to show an AR-15 semi-automatic weapon. Less than 2 months ago, Kelly had started a job as an unarmed security guard at a nearby resort. He seemed like a nice guy and did not cause any problems, said Claudia Vajabedian, manager at the Summit Vacation Resort in New Braunfels. In the Air Force, Kelly served in logistic readiness at Holloman Air Force Base in New Mexico from 2010 until 2014 discharge. Air Force spokeswoman Ann Stefanik said. On Sunday, the attacker pulled into a gas station across from the church about 30 miles southeast of San Antonio. He crossed the street and started firing the rifle at the church, then continued firing after entering the white wood-frame building, Martin said. As he left, the shooter was confronted by an armed resident who grabbed his own rifle and exchanged fire with Kelly. The armed man who confronted Kelly had help from another local resident, Johnny Langendorf, who said he was driving past the church as the shooting happened. The armed man asked to get in Langendorf's truck, and the pair followed as the gunman drove away. He jumped in my truck and said, he just shot up the church. We need to go get him. And I said, let's go, Langendorf said. The pursuit reached speeds up to 90 miles per hour. The gunman eventually lost control of his vehicle and crashed. The armed man walked up to the vehicle with his gun drawn, and the attacker did not move. Police arrived about 5 minutes later, Langendorf said. The assailant was dead in his vehicle. There was no thinking about it. There was just doing. That was the key to all this. Act now. Ask questions later, he said. Church member Nick Ulich, 34, who was not at Sunday's service, told the AP that his cousin, who was 8 months pregnant, and her in-laws were among those killed. He later told the Houston Chronicle that 3 of his cousin's children also were slain. Oh my word. Officials initially said the dead ranged in age from 5 to 73 years old. 3 weapons were recovered. A Ruger AR-556 rifle was found at the church, and 2 handguns were recovered from the gunman's vehicle, according to the Bureau of Alcohol, Tobacco, Firearms, and Explosives. That is just... oh.
So do I just read the ones with the check beside them?
Yeah, the ones that are... yeah, you got, let's see, did they mark it for you?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, just read those and read from 8 o'clock on. Okay, so the first one is ABC, and say at 8 o'clock it's blah blah, 8:30 blah blah. And if it's got a little N in the box, that means it's new.
Okay.
And not a rerun, okay?
Okay, so WTBD Channel 11.
And that's ABC, isn't it?
ABC, 8 p.m. The middle, the setup. Fresh Off the Boat, that's new. Blackish, new episode. The Mayor. So I read the times as well.
Yeah, give the time as well.
So I'm sorry, let's start this over. So on ABC at 8 p.m., Tonight, The Middle comes on at 8 p.m. It's called The Setup. Fresh Off the Boat at 8:30 p.m. Blackish at 9 p.m. The Mayor at 9:30 p.m. Kevin Probably Saves the World at 10 p.m. and 10:30 p.m. At 11 p.m. is the news, and at 11:30 have Jimmy Kimmel Live. WNCN at 8 p.m. we have NCIS. A convicted felon swears he was framed. At 9 p.m. we have No Good Deed. At 10 p.m. we have NCIS New Orleans. At 11 p.m. we have the North Carolina News. At 11, Late Show with Colbert at 11:30 p.m. WRAZ at 8 p.m. That's 50. Lethal Weapon at 8:30 at 8 p.m. and 8:30 p.m. The MIC at 9 p.m. Brooklyn 9 at 9:30 p.m. WRIL 10 p.m. News on Fox 50 at 10. Access Hollywood at 11. 2.5 Men at 11:30. Channel 5, 8 p.m. We're looking at The Voice. Teammates are pitted against each other. This Is Us at 9 p.m. Law and Order at 10 p.m. The News on WRAL at 11 p.m. and The Tonight Show at 11:30 p.m. Channel 4, Finding Your Roots at 8 and 8:30. The Vietnam War at 9 and 9:30. Wait for God at 11 and World News at 11:30. A&E at 8 p.m. We have Leah Remini, Scientology and the Aftermath. Same for 9 p.m. and 9:30. Same for 10 and 10:30. And at 11, Intervention. A woman gets addicted to pain pills. AMC at 8 p.m. You have Moneyball. And at 11, you have Walking Tall. TBS at 8 p.m. You have The Big Bang Theory. Same for 8:30 p.m. on to
Yeah, see, let's see that.
10 p.m. We have Snoop Dogg, Joker's Wild.
Yeah, then just the ones. Down the bottom is not too many.
TLC, we have The Little Couple at 8 p.m. Hodges Half Dozen at 10 p.m. And The Little Couple at 11 and 11:30. Lastly, we have TCM, Objective Burmill at 8 p.m. and The Master Race at 10:30 p.m.
It's hard to track that time down, isn't it, when you're down at the bottom of the sheet? Did Turner Classic Movies, you read the movie, didn't you? Yeah.
I read.
Yeah, that's time for me to close this thing out. Okay. Hope you've all had a good morning. And this concludes our reading of the Fayetteville Observer. Your radio hosts have been
Jessica Bullock
and Tina Beatty. And for our radio listeners, we will now join the Raleigh Network for additional programs. Thank you for tuning us in. We've enjoyed being with you. And with a little bit of luck, we'll be here next Tuesday on the radio. Bye-bye.
Bye.
With a little bit.
I was struggling today.
A little bit. What?
I was struggling today. Like, my allergies are like,
Are they?
so it's like hard to breathe. And
yeah, and it's stuffy in here because we got the door closed. I mean, we used to read with the door open. And in a way that's better unless there's somebody tromping up and down the hallway.
Yeah.
And sometimes there would be people that were showing around and they'd all be out there talking and laughing and, you know, so it's kind of hard to know what to do. But I was hot for a while there. I was fanning myself.
Yeah, today was not my best reading.
Well, you did a wonderful job. You always do.
Thank you.
You're a good reader, honey.
Thank
So
you.
don't even worry about that. Well, I'll see you next week. Are you going to read next week? Oh, lovely.
Yes, ma'am.
Jolly good. Let me dump these out now.
Go get some of this eat.
Take care, love. I'll get it.
Thank you.
No problem.